Welcome to the Gilded Age, Unit 6 if you're following the College Board's organization. So this era is known generally as the Gilded Age, but it can be quite confusing because there are essentially three very different things going on in the country depending on where you live. In the North and East, the country is rapidly modernizing and industrializing. Cities are growing, immigrants are coming in droves, some people are getting really rich, and the government is fairly happy to just sit back and stay out of everyone's way as long as the country keeps making money. That is the stereotypical Gilded Age. But this economic growth and industrialization is being fed by what's happening out west. So this era is kind of also the last gasp of the so-called Wild West frontier. As the American economy and government extends its control further west, the land is getting bought and divided up. Railroads snake across the landscape, and indigenous groups are being forced onto reservations, often through military conflict. While other industrializing nations like England have colonies in Africa and Asia to take resources and raw materials from, the US kind of uses the American West in a similar way. Gold, silver, copper, timber, and crops are shipped back east to feed the growing population, while wealthy companies based in the east fund railroads and mining operations in the west. Think of it like a constant loop of raw materials heading east and money and infrastructure being built out west, with Mexican Americans, indigenous people, and some old school frontiers people often caught up in the middle. And finally, this era also sees the rise of Jim Crow in the South. Although Reconstruction attempted to recalibrate the balance of power in the former Confederacy, turns out 10 years wasn't enough to undo centuries of white supremacist attitudes and institutions. Who knew? While the North is busy making money, the South devolves into another racial hierarchy that keeps Black Americans firmly as second-class citizens, often unable to vote, get educational and economic opportunities, and just live safely in their communities. So I do think Mark Twain's nickname for this era, the Gilded Age, is a good one. This era has a thin layer of shiny gold: the railroad boom, skyscrapers, baseball teams, Carnegie Hall, cosmopolitan cities, the rapid growth of the American economy. But that layer is covering up, or is created on top of, the reality that while some Americans made it big, they did so on the backs of immigrants, Black Americans, indigenous people, and the working class, who did not think this era was quite so gold and shiny. Good luck.